Hi there, my name is Fred Macedo. Welcome back to the channel. I received this message. I wrote this message in March 18, 2023. I'm gonna read it. Conviviality is always collective. It's a rough file that sharpens our edges, and from contrast and frictions comes growth, overcoming selfishness and serving others more. For the other, controlling tempestuous. Humor is about finding oneself in an inferior and subordinate position, in a word, pride. But leave the vicious circle of slow learning in which they find themselves almost at the same time, from a circle to a spiral. Depending on the perspective, in a spiral, it seems to return to the same place. In a way, life leads us to experiences that need to be repeated, but each time we are more prepared. Hence the analogy of the spiral, which seems to return to the same point, but we are slightly higher and more aware than the previous time. Emotions are like a toolbox. They all have their value and use. Some, like anger, have very specific uses, such as getting out of a survival situation, fighting or fleeing. Only then should the bear that sleeps in all of us comes out of its cage. In other cases, when there is no physical danger, anger and other emotions must be tamed, teaching oneself that each emotion has its place and time. Jesus himself demonstrated that energy has its place when he has expelled the merchants from the temple. As mentioned, each feeling has its specific use, but how can I control what I feel? The prefrontal cortex is relatively new in the brain compared to the reptilian brain. Hence, its initial advantage in reaction. There is no way to say that I have to accept that I am this way and I will die this way without controlling my emotions, because they come from within me. Slowly, I need to analyze my own behavior, convincing myself of the need to change. For example, instead of exploding in anger, contaminating others and the environment because thoughts emit secretions, feel the anger but stay silent. Not expressing anger is no weakness and will not harm your health unless you keep ruminating on the fact. Take the test. I feel but I don't explode. I show my dissatisfaction, but I don't explode. I stay silent. Then I think the other person still doesn't want to, or isn't ready to give me what I want. Thus, gradually, my inner bear is tamed, and I will only act when necessary, in situations of fight or combat. Let's take another example. I'm cruelly criticized if I try to defend myself, remembering that we are all sick in our souls. When confronted, let the other person explode, get excited, get exhausted, all their stupidity, demonstrating their inferiority. It's necessary not to judge them, but to ask ourselves, despite of the excesses and the lack of charity in their speech. Is the other person's criticism valid? Is it fair? Would I respond to it if the other person addressed me with love and respect? Even if we are angry and distant from responding to them, if the request is fair, even if thrown in our face, it must be met, even if we don't want to do so at that moment. We register, ponder, and know to take action at another opportunity. There will come a point where we empty the content that the other person can use to vent their own frustrations when we notice that, unlike before, the other person's criticism does not find resonance in our behavior. It is shallow and superficial. Nevertheless, we must not neglect prayer and vigilance, for the behavior of others does not authorize us to despise and resent them. We are grateful for conditions to change with patience and love, keeping ourselves available and loving. But it's really that simple, but not easy. Just remember that difficulty of others is an important and necessary tool for our own growth. In one sentence, the bitterness of others is the abrasive that smooths our edges, the acid that dissolves our impurities, leaving our brilliance more radiant. We should be grateful for others being the way they are, because they are necessary for us to change and become better human beings. Will others follow us? Will they follow our example? That is something we cannot control. May our examples speak so loudly that our words become unnecessary. Please share this message in both Portuguese and English. Take your time. Hugs, a friend. Thank you for watching. Until next one.